there is something remarkable happening inside your body right now. Even as you sit here and watch this video, millions of tiny processes are working quietly in the background, repairing damaged cells, clearing out waste, fighting off threats, and maintaining a delicate balance that keeps you alive and functioning. Most people have no idea how powerful these natural systems truly are. We tend to think about health in very simple terms: eat less, move more, take a supplement or two. But the science tells us something far more interesting. The body is not a passive machine. It is an active, intelligent, self-defending system. And when you understand how it works, you can make choices every single day that either support its natural power or quietly wear it down. Today, we are talking about something that affects millions of older Americans, and yet it almost never gets the attention it deserves. We are talking about 5 specific mistakes, things that seem ordinary, even harmless, that are actually speeding up the aging process from the inside out. And here is what surprises most people: it is not what you might expect. It is not about magnesium deficiency. It is not about skipping your vitamins. Some of these mistakes are deeply woven into everyday habits that you may have been living with for years, maybe even decades. The good news is that once you understand what they are and why they matter, you can start to change them. Your body is waiting for that chance. Let us start at the beginning. Aging is not simply the passage of time. Aging is a biological process, and like all biological processes, it can be influenced. Researchers have now identified that what we experience as getting older is heavily driven by a few key systems inside the body: your immune system, your blood vessels, your metabolism, your gut, and your ability to regulate inflammation. When these systems are working well and working together, the body ages gracefully. Energy stays strong. The mind stays sharp, the joints stay flexible, the heart keeps pumping with resilience. But when these systems start to break down, when inflammation gets out of control, when the gut loses its healthy balance, when the blood vessels stiffen, when the metabolism slows and misfires, you feel it, and not just in your energy levels. You feel it in your memory, your mood, your sleep, your skin, your ability to fight off infections, and your risk for serious diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and dementia. What makes this so important for people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond is that these systems are more sensitive at this stage of life. The margin for error gets smaller. A habit that your body could tolerate at 40 may start causing real damage at 65. That is not a reason to feel fear. It is a reason to pay attention. And it is a reason to be encouraged, because the science also tells us that the body retains an extraordinary ability to respond to positive change at any age. There are studies showing that people in their 70s who made meaningful lifestyle changes experienced measurable improvements in their cardiovascular health, their cognitive function, and their immune resilience within just a few weeks to a few months. The biology of healing does not retire when you do. So let us walk through these 5 mistakes together, not to make you feel guilty for anything you have done in the past, but to open your eyes to what is possible going forward. Because understanding your body is the first step to protecting it, and protecting it, especially at this stage of life, is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself and for the people you love. Let us begin with mistake number 1. The first mistake is one that almost everyone over 60 is making to some degree, and it is this: sitting too much for too long without enough movement in between. Now, this is not simply about exercise. This is about something called sedentary physiology, what happens to the body when it stays still for extended periods of time. When you sit for more than about 45 minutes to an hour without moving, several things begin to happen inside the body that most people would find alarming if they could see them. Blood flow in the lower legs slows significantly. The muscles in the legs, which play a crucial role in helping pump blood back up to the heart, become inactive. Insulin sensitivity in the cells begins to drop, meaning your body becomes less efficient at managing blood sugar even if you ate a perfectly healthy meal an hour ago. But here is what is most concerning from a longevity standpoint. Long periods of uninterrupted sitting trigger low-grade inflammation throughout the body. This is not the kind of inflammation that makes your knee swell after a fall. This is a quieter, more dangerous kind a slow, steady release of inflammatory signals that travel through the bloodstream and affect the heart, the brain, the immune system, and the lining of blood vessels. Scientists call it chronic low-grade inflammation, and it is now considered one of the primary biological drivers of accelerated aging. It damages the DNA inside your cells. It shortens your telomeres, the tiny protective caps at the ends of your chromosomes that act like biological age clocks. It creates an environment inside the body that makes disease more likely and recovery slower. The good news is that the solution here is not complicated. You do not need to become a marathon runner. You do not need to join a gym or suffer through painful exercise routines. Research shows that simply breaking up sitting time with short bouts of light movement, even just standing up and walking to the kitchen and back, or doing a few gentle stretches in your chair, can significantly reduce these inflammatory signals. The goal is to interrupt the stillness every 30 to 45 minutes. Set a gentle reminder on your phone if you need to. Walk to the mailbox. Do a slow lap around the living room. Your blood vessels, your insulin response, and your inflammation levels will respond, sometimes within hours. Now let us go deeper into the biology, because understanding what is actually happening inside your body when you make these aging mistakes will help you appreciate why the solutions work so powerfully. The second mistake we need to talk about is poor sleep. And not just getting fewer hours, but specifically the quality and consistency of sleep, which turns out to matter enormously for how fast or how slowly the body ages at the cellular level. Most people think of sleep as rest, and yes, it is rest. But during sleep, the body is doing some of its most important maintenance work. This is when the brain activates a remarkable cleaning system called the glymphatic system, a network of channels that flush out metabolic waste products, including a protein called beta amyloid, which is the same protein that accumulates in the brains of people who develop Alzheimer's disease. This flushing process only happens during deep sleep. If you are not getting enough deep, uninterrupted sleep, these waste products are not being cleared. They build up, and over years and decades, that buildup can cause real, measurable damage to brain tissue. But sleep does far more than clean the brain. It is also when the body releases the highest daily levels of human growth hormone, a key signal for repairing and regenerating tissues throughout the body, muscles, bones, skin, immune cells. Sleep is when the immune system conducts its nightly review, tagging and clearing infections, activating memory cells, and recalibrating its defenses. Sleep is when cortisol levels drop to their lowest, giving the body a daily recovery window from the stress hormones that, when chronically elevated, accelerate aging in virtually every system from the cardiovascular system to the gut to the skin. When you consistently sleep poorly, whether that means fewer than 7 hours, frequent waking, early morning arousal, or spending too many hours in light sleep without reaching the deep and REM stages, you are denying your body this essential maintenance window night after night. Studies published in major scientific journals have now confirmed that chronic poor sleep is associated with a significantly shorter telomere length, meaning the biological clock inside your cells runs faster. People who sleep poorly show higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood. They show impaired blood sugar regulation. They show reduced activity of natural killer cells, the immune system's frontline warriors that patrol the body looking for cancer cells and infected cells to eliminate. Over time, this compounds. Poor sleep makes inflammation worse. Worse inflammation disrupts sleep further. It becomes a cycle that quietly but steadily pulls the body toward disease and decline. The third mistake is one that is particularly common in older Americans, and it is deeply underappreciated chronic dehydration. Not severe dehydration, the kind where you feel thirsty and dizzy and clearly need water. We are talking about a mild, persistent state of inadequate fluid intake that millions of older adults live with every single day without even realizing it. One of the reasons this happens is that as we age, the thirst sensation becomes less reliable. The physiological signal that tells you to drink water becomes blunted. So older adults may be significantly underhydrated without ever feeling thirsty. This is a well-documented biological change that begins in middle age and becomes more pronounced in the 60s, 70s, and beyond. What does mild chronic dehydration actually do to the aging body? More than most people realize, every cell in your body depends on water to function. for transporting nutrients in, transporting waste out, maintaining the electrical charge across cell membranes that drives communication between cells, and regulating the concentration of biochemical reactions inside the cell. When the body is even mildly dehydrated, blood volume drops slightly, which means the heart has to work harder to maintain circulation. Blood becomes more viscous, thicker, which increases the risk of clots and puts additional strain on both the heart and the kidneys. The kidneys, which filter waste from the blood and concentrate it into urine, are particularly vulnerable to chronic mild dehydration. Over time, this low-level stress on the kidneys can accelerate the gradual decline in kidney function that is already a normal part of aging. There is also a significant effect on the brain. Research shows that even mild dehydration, a loss of just 1 to 2% of body water, can impair short-term memory, concentration, and processing speed. In older adults, who may already experience some age-related cognitive slowing, this adds an invisible burden. Many older Americans are walking around with unnecessarily cloudy thinking simply because they are not drinking enough water throughout the day. The solution, again, is not complicated. It is consistent. Aim to drink water regularly throughout the day, not just when you feel thirsty, because remember, that signal is no longer reliable at this stage of life. A simple habit is to keep a glass or bottle of water visible and within reach at all times. Drink a full glass when you wake up. Drink one before and after each meal. Herbal teas and water, rich foods like cucumbers, celery, and watermelon also count toward your hydration. The body will respond quickly. Better hydration improves energy, mental clarity, kidney function, joint lubrication, and blood viscosity, sometimes within just a day or two. The fourth mistake is one that people rarely connect to aging, but the science is now very clear. Chronic loneliness and social isolation have a measurable biological impact on how fast the body ages. This is not about emotional well-being alone, although that matters enormously. This is about hard, physical biology. Researchers studying the immune systems of people who reported chronic loneliness found something striking. Their immune cells had a very different gene expression profile compared to people who felt socially connected. The lonely individuals showed elevated activity in genes that drive inflammation and reduced activity in genes that support antiviral immunity. In other words, loneliness was turning on the aging accelerators and turning off the immune protectors at the molecular level. This happens through a fascinating biological pathway. When the brain perceives social threat, which is essentially what chronic loneliness registers as in the nervous system, it activates the same stress response that evolved to protect us from physical danger. This triggers the release of cortisol and activates the sympathetic nervous system. In the short term, this is protective. But when the brain is receiving constant loneliness signals day after day, these stress pathways remain chronically activated. Cortisol stays elevated. Inflammation stays high. The immune system remains in a state of alert that is not designed for long-term use. The cardiovascular system experiences added stress, and over time, this biological response to social isolation contributes to a significantly higher risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and early death. The data on this is sobering. Some studies suggest that chronic loneliness carries a health risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Now that we understand what is happening inside the body when these mistakes accumulate, let us talk about what you can actually do about it, because the science of aging is not just a story of decline. It is also a story of extraordinary resilience, and the practical steps that protect long-term health are more accessible, more enjoyable, and more powerful than most people realize. The fifth and final mistake is directly connected to diet, and it may be one of the most important things you can understand about eating as you get older. The mistake is this: eating a diet that is high in ultra-processed foods, refined carbohydrates, and added sugars, and low in the natural compounds that the body needs to maintain its defenses. This is not just about calories. This is about the chemical information that food delivers to your cells. Every bite of food you eat is not simply fuel. It is a signal. It communicates with your immune cells, your gut bacteria, your blood vessel walls, your gene expression, and your inflammatory pathways. The kind of food you eat most consistently determines the kind of biological environment your body lives in day after day. Ultra-processed foods, and we are talking about things like packaged snacks, Fast food, sugary cereals, processed deli meats, most commercially baked goods, and sodas are engineered in ways that the body has no evolutionary experience with. They flood the system with refined sugars that spike blood glucose and trigger insulin surges. They deliver inflammatory fats and food additives that disturb the gut microbiome, the vast community of bacteria living in your digestive tract that plays an enormous role in regulating immune function, inflammation, and even mood. When the gut microbiome is healthy and diverse, it produces short, chain fatty acids and other compounds that actively suppress inflammation and support the integrity of the gut lining. When the gut is disrupted by a poor diet, it can become permeable, what researchers call leaky gut, allowing bacterial fragments to slip into the bloodstream and trigger body-wide inflammatory responses. This is a significant driver of the chronic low-grade inflammation that accelerates aging. So what should you be eating instead? The answer is rooted in nature, and it does not require expensive supplements or complicated meal plans. The foundation of an anti-aging diet is whole, minimally processed foods, particularly those rich in a class of natural compounds called polyphenols. These are found in deeply colored fruits and vegetables, herbs, spices, green tea, dark chocolate, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, and legumes. Polyphenols have been shown in research to activate the body's own antioxidant and anti-inflammatory pathways, support the growth of beneficial gut bacteria, protect blood vessel walls, and even activate genes associated with longevity. Blueberries, for instance, are extraordinarily rich in polyphenols called anthocyanins, which have been shown to improve memory, reduce blood pressure, and support the health of the brain's blood vessels. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, and arugula are dense with nutrients including folate, lutein, and vitamin K, all of which support brain and cardiovascular health. Tomatoes contain lycopene, a powerful compound that protects the DNA inside cells from oxidative damage, the kind of damage that accumulates with age and drives cancer and heart disease. Fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, deserve special mention because they are one of the best food sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which are among the most well-studied anti-inflammatory nutrients in existence. Omega-3s are incorporated into the membranes of every cell in your body, where they influence how well the cell communicates with the immune system and how effectively it manages inflammation. In older adults, omega-3 intake has been consistently linked to better cognitive function, lower risk of heart disease, reduced joint pain, and healthier aging of the brain. If you enjoy fish, eating it 2 to 3 times per week can make a meaningful difference. Extra virgin olive oil is another food that has captured the attention of longevity researchers. It contains a compound called oleocanthal, which works in the brain similarly to ibuprofen, clearing protein aggregates and reducing neuroinflammation. The Mediterranean populations that consume the most olive oil consistently show lower rates of heart disease, dementia, and overall mortality. Using extra virgin olive oil as your primary cooking and dressing fat is one of the simplest and most evidence-based dietary switches you can make for long-term health. Beyond individual foods, the pattern of eating matters. Research consistently shows that people who eat a wide variety of plant-based whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, alongside lean proteins and healthy fats, and who limit ultra-processed foods and added sugars, experience slower biological aging, lower inflammation, and reduced risk of the major chronic diseases that steal quality of life in older adulthood. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to eliminate everything you love. Small, consistent improvements to what you eat most often will add up in your biology in ways that blood tests and how you feel day to day will reflect. Now let us bring all of this together. We have talked about 5 mistakes that age the body faster from the inside: too much uninterrupted sitting, poor sleep quality, chronic mild dehydration, social isolation, and a diet heavy in ultra-processed foods. None of these are dramatic. None of them are rare. They are woven into the ordinary fabric of modern life, which is exactly why they are so important to recognize and address. What unites all 5 is that they all feed into the same core biological process: chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation, when it runs unchecked for years and decades, is the common thread connecting virtually every major age-related disease that medicine struggles to treat once it has fully taken hold. But here is what should give you real hope. The same systems that get damaged by these habits are the systems that respond most powerfully to change. The gut microbiome can begin to shift within 3 to 5 days of dietary improvement. Sleep quality can improve within 1 to 2 weeks of better sleep habits. Inflammatory markers in the blood can drop measurably within weeks of increasing physical activity. Social connection activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's calm and restore mode, almost immediately lowering cortisol and heart rate in real time. The body is not passive. It is listening to everything you do, everything you eat, and how you choose to live, and it is ready to respond. You are not powerless against the process of aging. You are, in fact, more powerful than you may have been led to believe. Every morning you wake up is a new opportunity to give your body what it needs to defend itself, repair itself, and sustain the energy and clarity that make life worth living. The choices you make today, drinking an extra glass of water, standing up and walking for 5 minutes, calling a friend, choosing a bowl of berries over a bag of chips, turning off the television, and letting your brain do its nightly cleaning, these choices are not small. At the level of your cells, they are enormous. They are the language your body understands best. If you found this information helpful and you want to keep learning how to support your body's natural healing systems through science-based nutrition and lifestyle medicine, please subscribe to this channel. There is so much more to explore together, from the foods that protect your heart and brain to the daily habits that keep your immune system strong, to the latest research on what it actually takes to live a long, healthy, and vibrant life. Your best years are not behind you. With the right knowledge and the right daily habits, they can still be ahead of you. Thank you for watching and take good care of yourself.